I talk about fear a lot. That's one of the core truths of the Sasquatch people. When I had my life-changing love zap experience, I instantly knew, among other things, that I was an eternal being and that I had nothing to fear, that death was just an illusion. And when you have an experience like that, there's no coming back. Now, of course, there was much more detail to this experience, this love zap. Like I said, it was a download of universal knowing, and it was powerful. It was so strong that I was weeping uncontrollably. But I've described that many, many times. But like I said, fear, or no fear, to be more precise, was one of the main lessons that I garnered from that beautiful, life-transcending or life-changing experience. Some years later, I was sponsoring Susan to be a citizen of Canada so that we could get married. She lived in the States, in Oregon, and I live in British Columbia, Canada. So I was sponsoring her, and this was through the experimental gene therapy treatment that us citizens of planet Earth were kindly offered. Or wait a minute, were we kindly offered? No, I think we were actually blackmailed, weren't we? Yeah, that seems more like it. But in any event, at that time, I was sponsoring Susan, like I said. And at that time, in order to cross the border, you had to have gotten this experimental gene therapy. And I'll be quite frank with you. Susan and I are never going to get that. It's never going to happen. So that was a concern because at the time, like I said, you couldn't cross. So I had some fear about that, some trepidation. You know, considering that Sue and I had been trying to be together and live together for probably 10 years at that point, and had come across every roadblock possible, it just seemed like, are we ever going to catch a break? And so, like I said, I had a little fear over it. And I decided I've got to go out to the woods and talk to my people, because this is not who I am and this is not who I want to be. So off I went, and it was the middle of the night. Parked my truck outside the gate and walked into the pitch still darkness of the woods. And just stood there and thought on RE in the clan, and I just spoke my heart. I just reached out to them, poured out my emotions, and I said, guys, I really need your help. I'm in fear over this situation with Susan, and I don't want to be. It's not who I am, it's not who I want to be, and I know better. And in truth, you know, I should have had trust, and I should have had hope, because those are the kind of things that create the reality that we want when we focus on them, when we don't focus on the negative. So I wasn't going about things the right way, but in any event, there I was in fear over maybe not being able to ever be together with Susan. Now, since then, of course, she is up here in Canada. We are married. We live under the same roof. And the border ban has been lifted for now. Until they kindly offer us another experimental gene therapy. Then anything goes. By the way, you can always say no. I did, and I'm still here. It didn't really affect me. Of course, being retired helps a lot, so I didn't have to go through the blackmail ordeal of losing my job like so many did. It must have been extremely tough. But I know in my heart that even if I had been threatened to lose my job, and I did lose my job, there's no way I would get that therapy. There's not a hope in hell. So we were kind of in a rock and a hard place kind of thing, unless things change, which they did. So one night I decided to go off into the woods and ask my clan for help because I just was not myself. I did not want to be in fear over anything. No fear was one of their big lessons, and I was living in no fear, literally, and it's freeing. When you have no fear, it is so freeing. You can't be touched. You have the courage and the strength to live with your convictions and to do what's right instead of what people tell you to do. So that's a miracle in itself, or what people expect you to do. So off I went into the woods, into the still, quiet night, because it was really late and there was not another soul around. And I stood there in the darkness, and I reached out to my clan and I said, guys, I'm really not myself. I'm in fear over this situation with Susan. Can you please help me? And then a miracle transpired. Literally, within that split second of asking, like a light switch, my fear was gone. Totally gone. And it's never come back. Now, of course, since then, Susan and I are together, so faith and trust were warranted because everything did work out. So that's good. But what a miracle. What an absolute miracle to ask these beautiful people, the Sasquatch people, and my people in particular, my clan, to help me. And just like that, they did. And you know, I've found that when you really need them to come through for emotional support, to watch out for you, or just to show you love and care, and to let you know that they're with you, they always seem to deliver. They are the most decent and amazing, honorable people I know. So that's my story about fear and the miracle of when the Sasquatch people removed it from me, after initially teaching me the lesson. So I guess the fact that I already knew couldn't hurt, but man, when they took it away just like that split second, it was, oh my God, how dramatic. And I'll never forget it, and I'm grateful. Very, very grateful. Thank you.